PSG are moving in to buy Barcelona's best player. Just like with Neymar and Verratti, Barca once again can't do much to stop it. Inter Miami are looking for a new forward to partner Lionel Messi and replace Luis Suarez, and Lamine Yamal's off-field life is turning into a problem. What's next for the biggest young talent in Europe? We'll talk about all of that and much more today, my friends. This is Football Frenzy, and a top 10 of the hottest football stories right now. Spent this summer like crazy. They signed players for almost €500 million and sold for around 200 million. They refreshed all the lines that needed refreshing, and even some that did not. But the results have been terrible. At the start of the season, Liverpool were top of the Premier League table. Very quickly, they began to throw away that lead, and now they sit below mid-table. The team doesn't show bright attacking football. They don't show reliable defensive football either. They show nothing coherent. Who is to blame? Legendary Arsenal coach Arsène Wenger believes the root of the problem is Florian Wirtz. He's convinced that the German's transfer broke Liverpool. The problem, according to Wenger, was Wirtz's demand during negotiations. He insisted on playing as a number 10 and not as a winger if Liverpool wanted to complete the deal. This decision, in Wenger's words, destroyed last season's champions. Before that, the midfield trio of Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai looked fantastic. On top of the positional issues, Wirtz is struggling with finishing. In 11 league matches, his combined expected goals plus expected assists is only about 2.5. For comparison, Bruno Fernandes, who also isn't in top form, has roughly double that. Wirtz is also making far fewer passes than he did last season, down by about 1.5 times. So he isn't handling the classic playmaker role. But in reality, there's not much point now in arguing who is right and who is wrong. Liverpool are in such a deep crisis that no individual looks good. On the pitch or on the bench, Wirtz or no Wirtz, the Reds are still losing. Maybe he was the first domino to fall, but a club doesn't collapse because of a single transfer. It's not Wirtz forcing Van Dijk to stick his hand up like a volleyball player. It's not Wirtz making Konate commit childish positioning errors that lead straight to goals. Liverpool's problems are huge and affect almost every key aspect of their game. That is the hardest kind of crisis for a head coach. You can't fix things like this overnight. But in modern football, no one will sit and wait patiently. Bernardo Silva's contract with Manchester City is coming to an end, and everything points to it not being renewed. The club is clearly moving into a new cycle. The key players from Guardiola's first title-winning teams are slowly leaving. Last season, City lost Kyle Walker. This summer, Kevin De Bruyne left. Next summer, most likely, Bernardo Silva and John Stones will follow. That would officially mark the end of the old guard. For Bernardo, though, it's far too early to think about retirement. He's still top level. The Saudi option is always there. They can offer a salary no European club will match. But he also has the chance to stay in Europe and remain at the highest level. Italy often becomes the next step for ex-City players. De Bruyne is the example here in this script. He moved to Napoli and immediately became a key player. If not for his injury, he'd still be running the show. Napoli, however, haven't yet shown interest in Bernardo. Other clubs are more active. Italian media report that Milan have added Bernardo to their summer shortlist. Juventus are also thinking about it. The main problem is the wage. At City, he earns over $10 million per year and doesn't want to cut his demands too much. Meanwhile, Milan's top salaries barely reach $5 million. Juventus pay more, but still nowhere near Premier League levels. So if Bernardo really wants Serie A, he'll have to compromise. There's another option: Barcelona. The Catalans love ex-City players. Gundogan had a strong first year. Cancelo also looked good and fit the style. Despite the financial crisis, Barca's wage ceiling is still higher than that of Italian clubs. And Bernardo has already said he loves both the city and the club style. So his range of choices is wide. Saudi Arabia with crazy money, Italy with a key role, or Barcelona with a perfect stylistic fit. Each route has its own logic. The story around Marc Guehi is turning into a classic transfer soap opera. All summer, Liverpool circled around him, wanting him as the long-term replacement for Van Dijk. In the end, they even agreed a deal with Crystal Palace right near the end of the window. The fee was reasonable, around £35 million. Then manager Oliver Glasner went ballistic. He made such a scene that the move was blocked. Since then, Guehi hasn't disappeared at all. On the contrary, he has grown into a proper top-class defender. He's confident for the national team and is absolutely crucial at Palace, which explains why Glasner was so desperate to keep him. But Guehi will still move up a level. Now that is official. Liverpool remain one of the main contenders. They are struggling and their defense needs urgent surgery. Recently, they sent Palace a new, rather modest offer of around $25 million. In Spain, though, they say Liverpool now have a much stronger rival, Real Madrid. Madrid have supposedly submitted a far more generous bid, basically saying, if you want to do this now, we're ready to close the deal immediately. So this winter, we're looking at a nervous battle between giants for one of the most reliable English defenders. And don't forget Bayern Munich, who are also listed among the favorites. Last summer, Liverpool missed their chance because they started working on the transfer too late. That was a huge mistake from the board. Now it's simple. Whoever moves first wins. Whoever convinces Crystal Palace first gets the player. This story could easily turn into a full-scale behind-the-scenes war. Situations like this always reveal how big clubs really operate away from the pitch. Lamine Yamal is appearing on front pages more and more often not because of his performances, but because of scandals off the pitch. One day it's a party with dwarfs. Another day he's provoking Real Madrid just before El Clasico. When he first broke through, he had the image of a shy school kid doing homework between games for Spain. Now everything is different. He constantly changes hairstyles, lives a very active social life, dates rappers, throws gangster-style parties. Many feel that a Barcelona player should not be choosing these role models if he wants to maximize his potential. But Yamal never saw Messi or Ronaldo as his idols anyway. His main football idol has always been Neymar, a player with Messi-level technique who at 33 can't get into the Brazil squad anymore. And even Santos fans argue whether he helps the team or just hurts them. That's who Yamal looks up to. Manchester United legend Luis Saha assessed Lamine's prospects like this. His talent can easily be wasted because of the off-field hype. He isn't as obsessed with the game as Lionel or Ronaldo. I'm really afraid that Lamine will follow Neymar's path. The distractions around him are already there. Saha even added that Neymar was on another level entirely, much better than Yamal, so Lamine might actually burn out even earlier. Barcelona are seriously worried about all this noise around their young star. According to Diario Sport, the club thinks the media pressure on Yamal is far too high. They are worried that he's become public enemy number one in away games, like against Chelsea, Real Madrid, or Club Brugge. Chelsea fans, for example, were chanting at him, "You're just a sucker, Sterling," and Yamal is partly to blame. His social media posts provoke fans and give them extra reasons to mock and attack him. If Barca realmente want to reduce the pressure on him, the board needs to sit him down and discuss social media rules. In the 2019-20 season, Mason Greenwood burst into Manchester United's first team and showed why their academy is considered one of the best in England. He scored 10 league goals, looked extremely talented, and during academy training was already acting a bit arrogant towards his teammates, knowing he was much better than most of them. His character was never easy. Then came the big scandal. Greenwood allegedly assaulted his girlfriend Harriet Robson, and she went to the police. For an English player, this looked like a death sentence for his career. But Mason and Harriet eventually reconciled, and later even got married. It looked like an episode of a TV drama. Getafe, desperate for players, took a risk and signed him on loan. He then had a brilliant season in La Liga, becoming the main attacking force of the team. After that, Greenwood moved to Marseille, where he again became a leader. In October, he was named League One Player of the Month. He has 10 goals and 3 assists in the league alone. He's playing so well that, according to Fichajes, Atletico Madrid are ready to pay up to €70 million for him. Atletico's board believe he's worth it and that he can take them to a new level. Greenwood is so good now that people are even discussing a recall to the England national team, which is already stacked with stars. Remember, for England plays Jude Bellingham, who once tried to provoke Mason in a match between Getafe and Real Madrid, saying something about that very scandal. Getafe even considered filing a complaint, but Greenwood asked everyone to just move on. The Athletic reports that England coach Thomas Tuchel is not even considering calling him up yet. Opinions in the camp are split. Some players think he deserves a place on merit. Others believe there is no room for someone with his past. Samir Nasri commented on the situation. If she forgave him, who are we to judge? If his wife forgave him, we can forgive him too. If she hadn't forgiven him and he'd been convicted in England, I would say punishment is normal. Greenwood did bad things when he was young, which, by the way, are not even fully proven. But should he suffer for the rest of his life? Everyone should have the right to make a mistake and to repent. At the same time, Nasri understands Tuchel's position. Calling Greenwood up now would create huge tension around the squad, and nobody needs that before a World Cup. But after the tournament, if Mason keeps playing at this level and stays away from new scandals or doesn't switch to Jamaica, for whom he is also eligible, maybe he will slowly be brought back. If I were him and England still didn't value me, I'd genuinely think about Jamaica. Ruben Amorim decided that Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes would be the main midfield pair at Manchester United. On paper, it sounded great. Casemiro cleans up in front of the defense and feeds the ball to Bruno, and Bruno then dishes it out to the forwards on a silver plate. In reality, it often looks like this. Bruno is out of position. Casemiro doesn't know where exactly he should be because of that, and they both end up with their legs covered in mud, while the ball goes exactly where the opponents want it. Amorim's decision to pull Bruno deeper into midfield was questioned from day one. Yes, Bruno has now adapted a little, but at the start he was awful in defense, and in possession, tried to force a killer pass every time, causing counterattack after counterattack on United's goal. This change of position also turned Kobbie Mainoo into a permanent bench warmer. The academy graduate got tired of sitting with no minutes and has asked the club to let him go on loan to Napoli. The board want to keep him, but Amorim clearly sees Casemiro and Bruno as his main pair. He doesn't really trust other options. Many fans hate this view. One supporter on Twitter wrote, "Any manager who thinks Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes are a suitable double pivot is not serious." It would be just another angry tweet if not for one detail. United defender Patrick Dorgu liked the post on Instagram. The spirit of Alejandro Garnacho lives on. He also liked posts to show his protest. Dorgu did very well on loan at Nordsjælland and then at Lecce. United paid $30 million for him. At first he was a guaranteed starter. This season he plays much less and is clearly unhappy. But he isn't that important to the team right now, so the maximum his likes will achieve is probably a summer transfer, or he'll just sit deep on the bench until they sell him. In the summer, Italian media were very active pushing rumors about Dusan Vlahovic to Milan. The Serbian striker was very close to a move. Milan coach Massimiliano Allegri pushed hard for the transfer, but the sides couldn't agree on the financial side. Vlahovic has the highest salary in Serie A. Even though he was ready to accept some pay cut, Milan's bosses blocked the move once they saw what they would also have to pay Juventus as a transfer fee. Now Vlahovic plays regularly for Juve and has a good relationship with Luciano Spalletti, but he still hasn't extended his contract and could leave next summer as a free agent. Journalist Massimo Magaletti claims Vlahovic will almost certainly leave Juventus and join Milan. "I'm afraid Vlahovic will move to Milan next year, it's almost certain. The situation is a bit contradictory, but I think he'll end up there. I know Allegri very well. I'm afraid everything is almost done." Vlahovic knows Allegri's demands. Allegri knows what the striker can do. He didn't show his full potential at Juve, but he still scored regularly. Maybe now at Milan, Allegri can finally unlock him. Especially with Luka Modric and Christian Pulisic in midfield in this universe. They can always see the run and slide in that perfect pass for a striker like him. Luis Suarez joined Inter Miami when age was already starting to show. Even so, the Uruguayan has still been useful. This season in MLS, he scored 10 goals and provided 11 assists in 31 matches. He's still an important member of the team, though no longer the most effective. Midfielder Tadeo Allende has scored 16 goals. And Messi's stats we can't even compare. But it's obvious Suarez is fading. You see it in the numbers and in the eye test. He's much less sharp and far less deadly in the box. Defenders no longer need to completely shut him down whenever he's near the area. And off the ball, it's even worse. The team already has one passenger in Messi. A second one is a luxury they can't afford. Inter Miami were working on a contract extension with Suarez early in the season when he was in great form. Now that he's struggling, talks have been put on hold. Sources say Miami would keep him only if he accepts a much smaller role and a lot less playing time. Money isn't the issue. He and Jordi Alba both earn about $1.5 million a year, around 14 times less than Lionel Messi. Alba and Suarez didn't come for the money. Suarez seems ready to accept his new role, but both sides will only make a final decision after the MLS playoffs are over. Meanwhile, the Herons are already searching for a new striker to partner Messi and become the team's main scorer after him. Bild and Sky Sports report that Inter Miami have been negotiating with Timo Werner for some time. His contract with RB Leipzig runs until 2026, but in this script it's said that in a month he can become a free agent, so Miami want to move fast and secure him. If nothing extraordinary happens, Werner will become an Inter Miami player. This season he's played literally 1 minute for Leipzig. That's not the same as never coming off the bench, but you get the point. There were better days in his career. He is a very talented forward with good football IQ. No real questions about his discipline, his pace, intensity, movement, all at a high level. But his decision-making in key moments is almost always negative. Plus, he has health issues. He sometimes feels unwell when the stadium noise is too loud. In the end, he never fulfilled his potential. Now he's heading to MLS at 29, where the pressure is nothing like in the top European leagues. He can finally play for fun, and that's what I wish him. The main thing is that Messi fans don't turn him into another Higuain, or that Werner doesn't do that to himself by missing some huge chance in a final. PSG are once again trying to ruin Barcelona's transfer plans. A long time ago, a real conflict broke out between the clubs when Barca wanted to buy Marco Verratti. The Italian never went to Catalonia. Instead, PSG shocked the world by paying €222 million for Neymar. It is still the most expensive transfer ever, more than 8 years later. Something similar happened when PSG signed Ousmane Dembélé. Just as he finally started playing well and looked like Barca's new attacking leader after Messi left, PSG appeared, activated his clause and took him. 2 years later, Dembélé won the Ballon d'Or. Now Paris are ready to cause problems again. As you know, this season Marcus Rashford is playing for Barca in this universe, and he's doing very well. He's one of the team's leaders for goals and assists. Yes, it's obvious he doesn't fully understand the principles of total football, but he compensates with persistence and individual quality. For now, that is enough. Barcelona plan to buy him permanently at the end of the season. There is a €30 million buy clause in his loan deal. For an academy product with 15 goal contributions in a season, that's an absolute bargain. But PSG might not allow it. They've been watching Rashford for years. Rumors first appeared back in the Solskjaer era, but either United refused to sell or Rashford's form crashed. Now, everything has aligned and PSG are ready to offer around €50 million. Barca can't compete with that kind of financial power, so there is a very real chance PSG will steal from them a third top attacker in recent years. By the way, Rashford is reportedly dating a Colombian model now. If the Rashford transfer collapses, Barca may switch targets, though not an attack. The board are also considering strengthening midfield. Their main target there could be Ederson from Atalanta. Next summer it should be easier. His contract will be close to expiring, so Atalanta won't be able to demand a huge fee. But in truth, Barca have more urgent positions to fix. With Araujo's performances, the Champions League trophy will keep slipping through their fingers for a long time. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching and for subscribing to the channel.